Soundwave superior, Constructicons inferior.
Hey guys, T2RX6 here, back for another Transformers review. And today I'm going to show you what the latest round of wild abuse has brought to me. Now when I went home last weekend to visit my parents, I stopped by their local Target hoping I could find something new because apparently all the stores in my area forget that they stock Transformers. So I walked in and who did I see but War for Cybertron Megatron. And of course my first reactions to seeing him online were, ugh, all that unpainted gray plastic look. I'll never buy this toy. But then of course when I saw him in store it was, please, take my money. What's best, check, cash, or credit card? Just take it, I need him now. And now I have him in hand, but he's still not Soundwave. So today, I took a little trip to Walmart just to go and pick up some super glue. And I figured, well, you know, even though they don't stock Transformers here it seems anymore, I might as well take a look. And I found Soundwave. So today we're going to be reviewing Soundwave, as if the title wasn't giving that away already. As you can see, I've yet to take him out of the box, so what you're seeing here is going to pretty much be my first impressions, unless I have to reshoot something because the camera decides it wants to autofocus or whatever else. So, immediately we see on the back that Soundwave has a pretty low strength of 4, intelligence of 9, speed of 8, endurance 5, rank 8, courage 7, fire blast 9, and skill 9. I only bring this up because when I was reading the bio to War for Cybertron Megatron, it said his speed was 9, so I fail to see how the, truck-type vehicle is slower than a tank. And why a tank got a 9 is beyond me. The little bio here, real quick, says Soundwave is one of the most sophisticated electronics and communications experts on Cybertron. His body is heavily armored and shielded to protect the sensitive communications gear hidden within, where he stores every byte of information he collects. That's a horrible sentence on my part. He is a living storehouse of secrets. No one trusts him, but everyone understands that the data he holds could destroy them all. And apparently we can open up his chest somehow and store weapons in there. So I'm going to open this guy and I guess we'll take a look at the robot mode first because that's what he's packaged in. Alright guys, and we're back with Soundwave in robot mode. Now, the first thing that struck me about this guy is that he's got a lot of gray plastic. And as much as I complained about it on Megatron, and just really don't like the gray plastic, this is actually a different gray plastic. It ends up being a little more silver looking and not quite so light. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick it up there, but there's a much different color contrast between Soundwave and Megatron. So I don't find the gray plastic too much of a hindrance in this case. In fact, I'd say if Hasbro is going to do the gray plastic, this is the better plastic to use. Now, I don't know if this is going to be something that everybody Soundwave is going to have, but mine is pretty loose to the point that I'm not sure he's going to be able to hold too many poses on his own. He does come with his weapons that look a little bit like batteries when they're stored in his chest. You can see that it opens up to the side and he's got the two little indentations on the side to store his weapons. I like that. I think it's cool. I do like that he can store his own weapons. And of course, giving it to him, putting it on his shoulder, gives him the iconic Soundwave shoulder launcher, which I would have liked if it had some red in there, so that may be something to add at some point in time. And of course the gun, again, very G1 Soundwave weaponry there. Looks really good when he's holding it. He's not going to hold it this time because I dropped it on the floor. Alright, so I'm back, and not only am I bad at the English language, but I'm bad at using my hands, apparently. That's the easiest way I've found to get the little weapon out of there, as it does push on in. It's not spring-loaded or anything. I suppose you can stick a finger in, but I have big fingers, so it's not going to work. Articulation on this guy is pretty solid, where his shoulder pad actually kind of hinders him a little. He's got a really nice swivel on his arm there, as well as a rotation at the upper arm and elbow, of course. And I do believe he's got some wrist swivel. I don't think you can get it all the way around with a weapon in it. But that is okay. That is a pretty solid articulation. His head, which, by the way, this head sculpt just looks fantastic looking. Interesting enough, if I don't cover his light piping, you can see the purple shining through. The red on the eyes is actually just painted on there. So it looks better when I'm covering this. But he's only got side rotation. He has no forward and back. I guess it's not going to be affected in his transformation, so he cannot actually look up and down without pulling one of the Batmans where he's, you know, sitting there going, you know. His legs, solid again, although a little bit loose. He can do a complete split here, which does give him pretty good posability, up, down. You could get a full rotation on there. He does have a thigh swivel, as well as a knee joint, and again, Hasbro has paid attention to putting a ball joint in the foot to give you both rotation and forward and back and a swivel. So he's got really a lot of posability on there. It's really kind of a shame that mine has such loose joints. I'll probably have to do the nail polish trick on him and tighten all his joints that way, because he seems like a guy who's going to be ridiculously posable. And unfortunately, the fact that mine has a loose joints, it's not really going to happen very well. So let's go and follow directions and take him into vehicle mode. I'm sorry, he's already robot mode. Alright, so before I get him to his vehicle mode here, I remember seeing something on TFW, so I wanted to see if I could recreate it. And it was how to turn him into like a Cybertronian boombox, which ultimately feels pretty effective in what it's doing, whether you think that these are some kind of knobs or speakers there. But it really does a pretty decent job at making you feel that he is some kind of boombox, and really he's just doing some kind of robot yoga or something like that. But it is pretty neat nonetheless, and does give Cybertron, Soundwave a boombox mode. So let me finish transferring him to vehicle mode, and we'll go back to him then. Alright, and I'm back with Soundwave in his Cybertronian truck mode. And it is a very effective truck mode there. It looks exactly like you thought it did in the game. Really did a nice job emulating it, and the transformation was not too complex, and it was definitely fun. As a comparison, here he is next to the War for Cybertron Prime for a size comparison. Prime's a little bit taller and just a little bit longer there, but ultimately they're pretty good size for each other. They're kind of what I would expect the difference between the War for Cybertron truck or leader class, whatever you want to call it, and the trucks that they had there. He still has access to open the front panel and bring his weaponry out, if you're more capable than I am. And he does have ports on the side. Works every time. I'm telling you, that's the way to do it. But he's got ports on the side still, so you can, just like War for Cybertron, Optimus, and of course Megatron's a tank, so he doesn't need to, but you can put his weaponry on the side to give him an attack mode type thing. The weapons can still be plugged into the side here after you take them out of his chest piece here, which is still accessible, and give him an armed mode there, and just gives him a little bit more playability, I suppose. But it is a dead solid Cybertronian vehicle, and if you look here, you can see there's a slight difference between the painted silver and the dark silver that they used for the body portions, but really it's not that bad. It looks like it could just be shadows casted a little bit, and really doesn't take away from the figure. You can see up here, if you follow this line, they did miss a small silver paint app they could have put in to make it coherent, so that may be something I look into doing myself. But overall, I mean, he's a pretty nice alt mode. It's pretty clean from the bottom. You can't see any of the robot parts really, aside from, I guess, the legs, but yeah, it's really nice. And he may be competing with Dark Mount as my favorite deluxe from this particular wave of generations. So if you are out and you see him, I highly recommend picking him up. Even with the little loose issues I've got going on with mine, I still highly recommend him. So good luck, guys. Hope you find him. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you guys next time. Hooray for grammar!